Hello again and welcome to this webinar of Safetica 9.0. My name is Jan, I'm a product manager here in Safetica, and today I'm joined by our head of product management, Vitya.
Hello everybody.
So we'll be guiding you through the presentation and we'll show you what is new in Safetica 9 and how you can use it to your own liking. So if I switch to the agenda, first, we will talk a little bit about security audit, or what was previously known as proof of concept. And we will explain how it is used, what are the benefits of it, and we will show you how it looks like in the product, in the new version. After that, we will move on to Safetica DLP and show you how we have improved the DLP of the product and how you can use it to configure the protection better. After that, we will just go through other highlights of improved things in the new version. And at the end of the webinar, we will also talk a little bit about the product roadmap, because it's something you are asking for a lot, and we want to present the main views that we are focusing on at the moment. Before we move on to the main parts of the presentation, the agenda will take us approximately 30 minutes. We should be ending by 45, the latest. And I also have to highlight that the webinar is recorded, so anything that will be presented will be recorded and will be shared with you afterwards. So I think this is it for the introduction, and I give the word to Vitya, who will take you through security audit.
Okay, thank you, Jan. So let's see what's new in Safetica regarding security audit. So security audit, this is something you might already heard of, or you might be familiar with other name, which is called proof of concept. So this is something we strongly recommend for all our partners to do, because this presents all security best practices. It introduces Safetica. It helps to find weak spots, weak security spots within the company. It sets the best practices for further DLP policies, and in general, it gives overview what are strong and weak places in overall company security environment. So security audit is something which is one of the major improvements in version 9, and it is a major tool for our partners how to promote and how to sell Safetica better. Security audit usually answers the questions about sensitive data within the company, what is happening with the files, where they are located, and where do they live, if the files are living into safe destinations, if employees are following best practices and security policies. It also answers questions if there are any security issues, perhaps if there are any website or applications which are risky. So as you can see, security audit or proof of concept answers a lot of questions about whole security environment within the company, and it gives you a good starting point for not only Safetica but also for other security services you might offer to our customer. And our numbers, our statistics about deals where security audit is being presented and deals without security audit are pretty much straightforward. When there is no security audit for client presented, usually a success rate for closing this deal just by, for example, trial license is only 12%. However, when our partners introduce security audit done by Safetica, then these deals are successful in 60%. So this is 5 times more. So as you can see, these numbers are really strong, and this is actually the main reason why we have improved it in version 9. We would like you to be more successful, and using Security Audit is proved to be more successful than any other way how to sell Safetica. So just by using Security Audit, you will multiply your conversions. One thing which is commonly related to doing proof of concept or security audit is that it might take some time to create a report, create all the charts, create the file, write recommendations, and so on. But with new version, this is just a one-click operation. Safetica will automatically generate security audit report. All you need to do is just to install Safetica on server, distribute it on clients, which is a couple of hours, and that's it. While creating report is just one click in WebSafetica, as we will see in a couple of minutes. So this is the major improvement where Safetica will help you save time creating the report. So actually, let's have a look how the security audit works, how it is created, and where you can find it. Now I am switching to my demo environment. This is WebSafetica, and I'm located on the dashboard. As you can see in top right corner, there is download security audit report, which will generate a file. It is a Word file. It is around 24 pages for this demo company. And this is based on the template we are recommending for proof of concept. So this file is automatically generated. I have made no changes. It is created by WebSafetica. As you can see in the table of contents, it is pretty much familiar to proof of concept. There are data channels separated. There is how websites and applications are used. There is information about IT resources within the company. Let's move ahead and see how the file actually looks like inside. First section is about the report itself, what kind of data it contains. It gives you information about the monitored environment, about the traffic, and top 4 channels. It gives you information about sensitive data which are located within the company, what is their share in overall traffic, and what are the most common activities. Then there are first findings about the company environment, and by green box I can see that everything is okay at this moment. There are also security recommendations, because security within the company is ongoing activities. So as you can see, recommendations are reflecting that. Check instant alerts, make sure that they are addressed to right persons, and so on. So there are recommendations to each section. Let's move ahead and let's see if there is anything more interesting in, let's say, USB communication channel, and perhaps also in other channels as well. As you can see, there is first security issue. It is in the red box. There are 2 sensitive files leaving my company, and there are no security policies. So this is significant security issue, and my IT administrator should go right ahead and fix this. There is also chart which helps me guide through the timeline and find if there was a peak within data traffic, what kind of files were transferred, and who was sending most of the files. If I would like to investigate these records more, I will just I have here a link which will direct me into WebSafetica. And again, there are recommendations how to create a safe environment in the company for this channel. In a similar fashion, there is data channel email. There is information about security issue, that there are again no security policies, and in again similar fashion, charts which help me understand what kind of files are leaving and so on. So now I believe that you have a good understanding what kind of information security audit generates, and you are able to modify it. Perhaps if you like to give different recommendation to your clients, you are free to edit it. You can change your logo, you can change everything. Because security audit is generated on one click, it saves you a lot of time, but you are still free to modify it. So let's switch back to WebSafetica and see if there are any other interesting changes. So as I've mentioned, I'm on a dashboard, and dashboard is displaying similar information to what is in security audit. I am able to identify if there are any security issues. I can see that within the data security, within the data flow, there are the two security issues I have already showed you within the Word file. Here I am able to narrow down all of the results just by clicking two sensitive files which are not which are leaving company without any security policies, and I am able to identify who is sending these files, what kind of files are leaving, and so on. So this is another improvement within the WebSafetica. So you are able to faster find what is going on and narrow down the results into one or two files very quickly. And in similar fashion, new charts were added into WebSafetica, so you are able to navigate into, let's say, a channel which is leaking the most data. Perhaps you are able to filter out only sensitive data and so on. So let's see, I will just filter out email channel, and I will receive results only for this specific channel, and then the data presented are much more easy to understand and to find out what's going on. So these charts will help you filter out interesting and not interesting the data. Again, usually you won't be interested in looking into records about somebody transferring image files. So again, you will just filter out image files and, let's say, focus on text files. So this is again to help you save time creating security audit, and you are able to present the results faster. So these are all changes in WebSafetica and related to security audit. I would like to mention that Safetica, from the first step, once it is installed, it guides you to best practices to set up what are sensitive files within your company, what are the secured destinations where the sensitive files can live, and it guides you to create first DLP policies based on email of the administrator. Other improvements within WebSafetica are there are changes in management. It is now easier to manage server and endpoints. You are able to do troubleshooting faster. Also, there have been improved mobile device management and deployment, and also Azure ID user identification for O365. So these are the improvements in WebSafetica, and with that, I would like to ask you through our poll, what kind of if the changes within the security audit will help you sell Safetica. Perhaps if you are already doing security audit, if you will consider doing it, or if this is still something worth considering later. So poll is now open. I would like to ask you to go ahead and select one of the questions, and I will close the poll within a couple of seconds. Okay, so I will give you 5 seconds to finish the voting, and the poll is now closed. Let's see what are results of your voting. I hope that you can see that that some of you are already doing security audit using Safetica, but almost I believe half of you are considering to start using Safetica for security audit based on the changes in version 9. So Jan, I believe this is all from my side at the moment.
So let me just turn the screen sharing back. So I believe you can see the screen now. I also want to encourage you, if you have questions, feel free to use the question box in the GoToWebinar, and we will get to your questions at the end of the webinar. But in the meantime, I would like to show you what we have done in the DLP section of Safetica. Once you are done with security audit, you come up with recommendations how to enforce protection, how to actually get DLP set up. And for this step, we have also prepared many new things in the product. So let me just switch here. So last year, we launched a feature called Channel Control, which enabled simple management of DLP. It only offered basic functionality, but it was adopted very broadly, and users were happy with it. So we tried to come up with ways how we can take that simplicity and apply it to the rest of the product. So what we have now in Safetica 9 is a new DLP management system, which is as simple as we could make it, and it retains all the power that was previously available. So if you've used security policies or DLP rules or channel control, this is now all part of one DLP view where you can manage your configuration through policies, which should be familiar to you. You might know them from other security solutions such as firewalls, where you specify rules or policies, and based on those policies, this configuration is applied. So now you have this all in one view. It should be familiar and therefore easy to use. And channel control was therefore discontinued, but its features are available as part of this one view, so that you can really just go to Safetica to one place and have a broad overview over the entire security of the company and with the configuration that you need to adjust it. To give you a better view how this works, I have some schematics here to show you, and after that we will move on to a live demonstration. But to understand how the policy system is set up, it's important to know the logic behind it. So when you want to start with DLP, you should go with very general policies which were previously available perhaps in channel control, where you are controlling entire data channels. So you are maybe blocking uploads altogether, or you block the use of external devices, regardless of the data that the user is doing. So you can also do this with the new policy system. So you just choose the outgoing data channels that you want to manage. You create a DLP policy, and therefore your data is protected to a certain degree. You can do the same with applications. So let's say you are using a company application for working with sensitive data. It could be an ERP system or something similar. And you want to manage how users are able to work with the data. So again, you create a DLP policy which says you cannot use clipboard outside this application, for example. And then your data, when it's used in this application, is protected. And of course, you can also do this for specific data. This is the hardest step and the most complex one. Before you do this, you have to understand what kind of data you are working with. That's why we have a data classification in Safetica. And already you should be familiar with the 3 approaches that we introduced last year. You can either use the content approach, which scans files and looks for specific data like personal identification numbers or credit card numbers or financial keywords or regular expressions that are important to you. Or you can use a third-party solution which takes care of the data classification. It labels your files, and based on those labels, Safetica can protect these files. Or you can use the contextual approach, which has been available for a long time, and you can specify the origin of the data, such as coming from an application or a website, or when they are stored on a network share, etc. And by this, you classify your data, you put a data category on it. Once you have that, you simply apply a DLP policy again, and by this, you protect the data. So when you look at this, this is a fairly simple system, and you see 3 examples on the screen, but you can add more, and you will just have a list of these policies that you can work with, apply them to different users, and adjust them to your liking. But to see how this works in real life, I'll switch to my virtual machine here, and I will show you the same system, how it looks like in the product. So I'm in the DLP section in the desktop console. You might have noticed that there is no channel control, which was previously available here, but there is a new view, which is the first one here, the DLP policies view. If I switch to this view, you can already see some policies here. These have actually been converted from my previous version. So when you update to Safetica 9 on an existing environment, your existing configuration will be converted to this new policy system. So I already have a handful of policies, but when you are starting from scratch, you won't get that many. You will start with 1 and slowly build to add more and more. And you can see here that I have some channel control policy, which was previously set up in the other section. And then I have various policies which are here, either converted for some sensitive data or some top secret data, which are actually contextually labeled files. Or I have some multimedia files here, which are protected with this policy. It's actually disabled now, but it would be protected. But I will show you how you can create a new one. So let's create a new policy. I will name it a test policy. And you can see that I can choose a different type of policy. I can either protect entire channels, this is basically what channel control was. I can protect email, instant messaging, file sharing, etc. I can protect existing data, where I can use data categories. These I have created here in the data categories view, so I have already structured my data. Or I can choose an application category, and I can choose a category of software which I want to manage somehow. For the sake of simplicity, I will just stay with the general policy, and I'll move on to the next step. Here I can choose what kind of mode the policy should be in. If I want to only log the actions done with the files, or I want to notify the users about these actions, or whether I want to block these actions and stop the user from potentially leaking data out of the company. And another great thing that we prepared is a policy template system, where we have some built-in policies, and you can also use this view to reuse existing policies. And with this, you can simply just start with a selection of preset configuration. and you can adjust it however you want. If there is something missing in this list, you can always customize your policy, and you can just go through these various rules and add them to the policy. So you can see I've added print here, and I can manage these channels. So let's say I will block upload. I will maybe block emails sent outside of the safe zone, which for me basically means company domain. So if I send an email out of the company, it will be blocked. And maybe my company is using some cloud drive. Let's say I'm using Office 365 with OneDrive and SharePoint, so I'll allow these cloud drives but not others. And print might be allowed for safe zones. This is all right. With this, I'm almost set up. I only need to apply the policy to users. I can either apply it to the whole company, I can choose my Active Directory, or I can choose specific departments or specific users if I want to override some existing policy. So I will just apply the policy to the entire company. And with this, and with confirming my configuration, you can see that the policy has been created and it's in my list now. The last step I want to do is to raise the priority of this policy, and I can do that by simply drag and dropping the policy. If this was my most important policy, I will put it on top. And this system works, as I mentioned, similar to a firewall system. So if a policy matches the action that the user is doing, it will block it. If there is an action not specified here, another policy below it will take effect, or another one, or another one, or another one. So by this, you can create a very flexible system where you have general policies set up on the bottom, and on top of these policies, you create more specific policies for more complex use cases. So this should, one, give you a simple management system, which is also transparent. And two, it will give you an overview over how your company is set up, because there is no user tree here. You see all the policies applied in the company in this one view. And I can easily say what is blocking my users, what is notifying my users, what kind of data are protected, what is maybe missing from this view. And I can quickly adjust it to whatever is needed in the company. The logs from this DLP policy system will be available in the new DLP logs. Sorry, I'll just save it. In the new DLP logs view, this is something what was previously called DLP protocol. However, we did some changes here, and you will find more relevant data, more related to potential data leaks. So you will see really actions done by users, which might mean an incident and which might be interesting to the administrator. Due to this cleanup, some actions which were previously available might be missing, but they are not missing from the product. You will still find them in Auditor. So if you are interested in all the emails sent, you can find them there. If you are interested in all the file actions, you can find them there. And here you will find all things which are set up in DLP policies and other related things which might be interesting, such as that a person was emailing something or copying something, moving files to cloud, etc. One last thing that is noteworthy here is that in the data categories view, a while ago we introduced a priority system, so you could say that one data category was more important than another. This was a good addition because it enabled some use cases, but it wasn't flexible enough. So what we did was that we removed the priority system here, so there is no longer a priority among data categories. All of them are evaluated all the time, and the priority system has moved here into this view where I can just grab a policy and change its priority by moving it around. We advise you to use the most strict policies on top. So if I have a blocking policy, it should always override my notifying policy, but you can adjust it to any way you see fit. And you will find that this new system is very flexible in the many ways that you can configure it. So this is the main overview over how the new DLP policy system works. We have discussed it with various users and our partners. how they like the idea. We actually iterated on it somehow, and the initial reactions were positive, so I hope you will like this change. And I encourage you to send feedback, because we really try to listen and adjust this, the changes that we are doing to whatever makes sense to our users. One more thing that I will talk about, which is not directly related to DLP policies, but it will be mentioned later in the webinar presentation, is, let me just save this, is a change that we did in license management. Actually now, a simple policy system is also integrated in the license management. So you can see that I have a license here, and there is an edit license assignments view, where I can simply create rules which will assign my licenses, which allows me to distribute licenses better in a big company where some users always have to get a license and other users are maybe not connecting so often that they don't need a license at all times. So if I choose, for example, that my Active Directory users should always get a license, you can see that I can change the order here as well. Let me just see. Okay, I cannot change it because there are only 2 here, but I can switch this on, and this what this does is that my Active Directory users will always get a Safetica license, and if there are more licenses free, the rest of the company will get them. If I add another, let's say my marketing department, you can see that I can change the order here, and I can say that, let's say my marketing department should never get a license, my Active Directory users should always get a license, and the rest of the company is distributed the remainder of the licenses. So we think that this will allow you to distribute the licenses better, because we had some issues in the past where some users were grabbing the licenses even though they weren't using them. So by this, you can easily set this up. And in this demonstration, I only have a single license, but if you have a Safetica DLP license and a Safetica Auditor license, you can do the same for both modules, and you can customize it to however you need. So some users might get an Auditor license, some users might get a DLP license, and so on and so on. But let me switch back to the webinar presentation, and I'll just quickly guide you through a couple of highlighted changes that are also available in the new version. So the one change that you can see on the animation in the top right corner is that the changes we were doing with the DLP policies, they enabled us to do some new technological changes too. One of them is new technology for blocking screen capture. So now it works for all kinds of screen capture, and the advantage is that it only blocks the part of screen which contains sensitive data. So you are not blocking the user from doing screenshots, because sometimes you have a lot of monitors and some of them might have sensitive data and others not. So by this, you only block out the part which is sensitive, and the rest of the screen can be screen captured however you want. I already mentioned the flexible license distribution, so you've seen it in action. So that will help in bigger companies with a complicated license setup. And 2 more things that we adjusted on the backend is that we improved some network detection capabilities, and now network ports are automatically detected for applications. There was a setting that you had to set up before, but we removed it because now it's done automatically. So it's one less thing to worry about when you are deploying Safetica, and your applications will be protected just the same way as before. And also for some website certificate situations, we improved the behavior, because sometimes when we were checking certificates, there were problems on various complicated setups where a company had certificate distribution in their environment. So for this, we have done some changes which will improve the situation and hopefully prevent issues that were not even happening in the past. And 2 more things that you see on the screen, they are not really improvements, more of changes in the new version. Now, .NET 4.5.2 or higher is required for both the management service and the Safetica endpoint clients to run. This is something that allows us to do cool new things, such as blocking screenshots with the new technology or doing other improvements in the background. And we have also stopped supporting older operating systems such as Windows XP or Server 2003, 2008. 2008 R2 is still supported, but these older ones based on older operating systems of XP and Vista are no longer supported. You can still use older Safetica clients to be run on the endpoints. They will still work just the same, but they won't support the new features, obviously. So we hope this won't be such a big problem. We did some investigation analysis and found out that most of our customers have already migrated to newer operating systems. So this shouldn't harm the potential that our product has. And with this, we are done with version 9. And Vítě will take you through a quick glance over our roadmap.
Okay, thank you, Jan. So this is a partners only webinar, we would like to share what we are planning, what we are working on. Please just make sure that you are aware that we can change a roadmap at any time without prior warning, because we are constantly listening for your feedback, and this is actually why we are showing roadmap for you to get some feedback from you. Okay, so let's see what we are already working on and what we are planning. So at the top line, you can see that we are already improving and simplifying how DLP policies work, and we are integrating Office 365 and Exchange Online stack. We will continue working on Office 365 in upcoming months as well. So we have started with auditing capabilities, and we will provide policy and DLP protection capabilities as well. We are also looking into integration with Fortinet, so that Safetica and Fortinet, these two technologies can work together, share information about sensitive files and how these should be protected. Later, next year, we would like to provide Microsoft 365 data protection capabilities, and also we would like to provide you new content inspection capabilities, which will be more robust, more flexible, provide you more ways how you can define data, also with shadow copy support. So these are features on auditing and DLP capabilities. Let's see what we are planning on the back end. As you might see on the second line in our architecture row, we are simplifying backend because we are preparing Safetica to be hosted in cloud. So this is something which is asked for in MSP environment. Managed service providers usually prefer solutions which are hosted in the cloud. So this is something we are which we are working on. Safetica still will be a viable option for on-premise installations. It will also support cloud. And finally, we would like to extend Safetica auditing and data protection capabilities on Mac platform. So similar to Office 365, we will start with auditing capabilities, and later we will move on to security policies on a Mac platform, and continue with data discovery and full DLP policies. We will also improve and continue improving Safetica mobile capabilities. So now you know what we are planning and what we are working on, and I would like to launch second poll, and I would like to ask you what of the changes are most important for your business. This is a multiple choice poll, so if you see that there are more things in our roadmap which are interesting for you, please go ahead and vote for these changes. So we are already seeing first results. So please go ahead and vote if you have still not voted. I will stop voting within a couple of seconds. So thank you for the voting. I have just finished the voting, and let's see the results. As you can see, you are interested in having Safetica auditing and data protection capabilities on Mac platform, and you would like to see extended capabilities on mobile platform as well, and you are also looking forward for Office 365 policy integration as well as Safetica for MSPs. So thank you very much for the voting. And with that, I am handing over to Jan.
So this is actually the end of the webinar. But before we close up, I just will take a look at the questions that you have asked. So just give me a second. Okay, there are a few questions here, so let's go through them. The shortest one is, are there any plans for Linux? So currently we are evaluating the support for Linux, but we are focused on adding a full-featured Mac OS client, and after that Linux might be the next step, but right now we are not working on Linux support. There is another question. Is there an anonymous version of the new security audit report that can be used to present the contents to potential customers? So Vítě?
Yes, so I will answer this question. So if you will go to Safetica.com homepage, and if you will scroll down, there is actually example of anonymous security audit report, which you can download and present it to our customers so that they can get better understanding what kind of data will they see after Safetica runs in their environment. So Safetica.com homepage, there is the link.
There is another question for security audit from Benjamin. He asks that security audit looks perfect, but it looks perfect for those with some DLP policies already. So how can we create DLP policies, and how do we analyze the data flows, etc., if there is only Safetica auditor in play?
All right, so I will answer this question as well. So actually, security audit guides you through best practices. And without knowing what sensitive data are, it is very difficult to create any secured company environment. So actually creating a definition of what sensitive data are is a recommended first step, but there are also many other things in the security audit report, such as what users or employees are actually doing on websites, what they are doing on applications, and so on. But actually, if you will use Safetica using trial license, which I believe is for first 30 days, you will have DLP capabilities as well, so you will be able to present security audit in full strength. And also, I would like to mention that within first time wizard in Safetica, you actually can define the first step mentioned. So you are able to define what sensitive data are, what are secured destinations, and first DLP policies just within the wizard.
Okay, thank you, Vítě. I hope this answers the question. And another question is just a thank you. So thank you, Andy, for the thank you. And I don't see any more questions at the moment. So let's give it a few more seconds for latecomers. Okay, it seems that there are no more questions coming in at the moment. So I would like to also thank you for joining today. You can of course contact us on the email that you can see on the screen. If you like the webinar, let us know. If you didn't like the webinar, let us know. And the new version that we presented is coming out tomorrow. It should be out within 24 hours. I don't know the exact time frame, but you should receive an email with details and download links. So you should be able to get your hands on the new version tomorrow. And make sure to also check out our Safetica blog. There is already one blog focused on security audit available today. Tomorrow, another one is coming up with an overview of the new version, and there will be one more coming out next week. So make sure to also check out the blog regularly because we are adding more content to it. So thank you again for joining and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.